all the books I am dying to get my hands on in 2025. My most anticipated reads, as you will. First up on that list there's honestly, last year was entertaining with books. This year, a lot of sequels are coming out of books that I loved last year. So I'm like, I need to get my hands on them. I'm salivating for them. I literally went up to James Logan at a John Gwynne event. I was like, can you get me an arc? And he was like, I was like, please, see what I can do. And I was like, I'm dying for the arc for that one. So let's just start with the Still Blood Promise sequel with the Blackfire Blade that doesn't come out until October at some point. Hearing James Logan talk about these books, talk about how each book is going to be like in a different location. So like Silver Blood Promise was in this city. I had no idea what Blackfire Blade is going to be, and it's just entertaining. It's kind of like lies a lot more across Indiana Jones, but a little bit more comes to it. There's a dynamic between Lucan and Flea, which reminds me of Aryan and Hound, but nowhere near as problematic. Like genuine, it's just entertaining, and I cannot wait for that book. I am preparing to reread The Silver Blood Promise, which, by the way, the audiobook is read by Ollie from Game of Thrones, and I highly recommend that. But it was just so much fun. There's so much going on, and I can't wait. I literally cannot wait for Blackfire Blade. Another one I cannot wait for, which is the third book in the series, concluding the trilogy, comes out in May, and it's the last book to the Judas Blossom series, which is is it Burning Blade and Nightingale? I could be entirely wrong, by Stephen Aryan. And I read the Judas Blossom, and I was entertained. It was cool. I got invited to the arc for book 2, The Blood Dim Tide, and I was like, cool, let's read it. Read it in a day. I was like, what's going on? I was horrified. I was like, what's happening to these characters? How dare you do this? Justice for the camels. What is going on? And I got my friend reading it as well, and she went haywire. We've both got a mutual friend of ours reading it as well. He's going haywire at the moment. It is so entertaining, and just it's a historical fantasy about the Mongolian Empire. May want to know more about the Mongolian Empire. It's so interesting. It's brutal. I mean, obviously, this Mongolian Empire is going to be brutal, but it's so brutal. But like, not gratuitous. Like, you know what I mean? But the characters out there. There's a gay relationship, which love that. There's a magic system that I'm really hoping in book 3 we're going to know so much more about, because I want to know, like, the way the Blood Dim Tide ended, I was like, I want to know more. Like, I want the third book now. Bearing in mind, I read the arc and I was like, what's going on? Just completely freaking out. Sorrow in the Sea, that comes out at some point in May, and I'm fingers crossing for an arc. I haven't technically had a release date for this yet, but according to the author's website, he is hoping for late 2025. And that is The Strength of the Few, the sequel to The Will of the Many. This book took me by storm. This book just possessed me. I was doing like a 12-hour shift at work, and I was like, oh, I'm so tired. Everything's going wrong. I had that for like a week, and I was like, I just need something to really grip me, to get me through this work week. And I picked up Will of the Many, because isn't it bouncing around online? I was like, what is it? What's happening? Oh my god. From the prologue, I was hooked. Chapter 1, even more. And then we go through and learn more and more. I'm like, I need to know. Then the ending. I need books. I will chop off my arm to have book 2. I enjoyed the Lycaena trilogy by James Arlington, right? I'd never expected The Will of the Many to just possess me and take me by storm. Like, it's just up there with one of my best books ever. I've already reread it twice. I'm going to reread it again in preparation for when we have a release date of Strength of the Few. We haven't even got a cover yet. I am praying that's going to be released in 2025. I just am. I really hope so. I mean, I have to put the Devils on here, don't I? Well, I'm going to get shouted at for the Devils. I mean, okay, I'm putting the Devils on here mainly because there's a couple of my friends who've read it and are like obsessed. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. We have similar tastes. I'm going to put it on because I enjoy First Law. I enjoy Abercrombie's work. I I don't love them, right? I'm not like every super fan. Like, he's a funny guy, but I've read it and I'm like, yeah, these are entertaining. They're just fun, you know. I don't know what more to say. But the Devils is obviously, it's not set in First Law World, and apparently it's I've seen the map of the Devils because a couple of my friends got an arc. So I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. So it's anticipated, but not like highly anticipated. It's not one of the ones that I'm just going to drop everything and read on release day. What I will drop on every day on release day is a Testy of Blood by Rob Payne. I think that's coming out in May. I think. I'm not 100% sure. But the Testy of Blood, so it's a sequel. Again, there's a lot of sequels on here. To Dance of Shadows, which was entertaining as fuck. I did the audio, loved it, and I was like, oh my god, this is just not what I thought it was going to be, and I just loved it, and it was a debut, and his writing craft is just there. I was like, yes man, yes, please give me more. So I'm hoping I can go to Arts Fest this year, and I'm hoping Rob's going to be there again, because he's such a nice guy, and I'm just hoping I'm just going to buy it. I might actually troll NetGalley actually and see if the arc's available to request. I don't know, we'll have to see. Another one which is a debut, right, which a friend of mine went to FantasyCon last year, and she said, oh, this author read the prologue of her book that's coming out, and it's so good. And I was like, oh, and she was telling me about it, and I was like, that sounds really interesting, which is A Song of Legends Lost. I can't wait for that. I have pre-ordered the audiobook already, and depending on how much I love it is whether or not I'll get the paperback. I'm trying not to buy so many hardbacks, that's why I haven't pre-ordered that yet. But on release day, if Audible actually drops it at a reasonable time, usually do it at like 8, 9 o'clock, and I start work at 7:30. I'm like, damn it. Anyway, I will probably read that on release because it sounds interesting. Here's the synopsis, because I cannot remember what it's... I know it's interesting. Don't ask me to remember exactly what it's about. One I am insanely excited for is The Damned King by Justine Lee Anderson, which is the third book in the Lost War trilogy quartet. I think it's a quartet, and I met Justine Lee Anderson at Worldcon, and he sounded like a nice guy, right? Just talk about neurodivergent shit, okay? I was like, I'm gonna read your book. Turns out I already had it. No idea I already owned it. I was like, I listened to that on the way back from Worldcon on the way home, and I was like, this is really good. Got my friend to buddy read it with me, and it was amazing. We were screaming at each other. Then we both buddy read book 2, and we both blew through book 2 because there are layers upon layers upon layers in this story. There is a memory dry who has wiped the memories of everybody and changed their memories to make it believe that he's king. But some are remembered, and the rightful king and queen are going to try to take back their throne. But there's a lot of things wrong. There's a lot of prejudice towards magic in the world and everything going on, and it's far more complicated than that. There's decisions that are made that shouldn't have been made. They are not, some people are not understanding what it's like to be the one who is prejudiced against and stuff and all of this, and it's Justine Lee Anderson just nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. A Drop of Corruption by Robson Jackson Bennett, which is book 2 and the Tainted Cup. I had so much fun with the Tainted Cup. It was a murder mystery full of neurodivergent characters, and the world was just the most interesting part, and the magic system and everything going wrong with Leviathans and all of this. And A Drop of Corruption is coming out. I cannot remember when. I want to say April. I am insanely excited for that because I read the Tainted Cup in a day and I loved it so much. I tracked down the Inkstone copy of it, and I'm hoping I can get a sequel because it was just so much fun. It was just so much entertaining. It's just so much fun, and I can't wait for it. Another one that I cannot wait, which I understand, right? A lot of people that I recommend to read, Dragon Rider by Taran Matharu, didn't love it as much as me, which is fine. I have a feeling book 2 is just going to be far better. I feel like it's going to go more into depth on the themes that were in book 1. Showed more dragons, more this. The characters were just there in book 1, and I cannot wait to see where they're going to go in book 2. Don't get me wrong, Dragon Rider did start a little bit slow. I was a bit like, At the moment I went, an insane scene here, and I went, sold. The Tainted Khan by Taran Matharu. I cannot wait for that to come out. I think it's middle of this year. I don't know when. I'm probably going to try and reread Dragon Rider before it comes out. Whether or not I do, I don't know. If I don't, I'm going to be messaging Taran Matharu, be like, have you put this in it? Is there a recap in the book? Is there a recap? Is there a recap? Because there is so much I need to read this year, and I'm like, I don't know if I generally have the time. Oh, there is the Outcast Mage, which I completely forgot about, which releases some point in January. And coincidentally, I actually met the author at Chimera last year. We were just, you know, chatting and having, it was very, very brief. I doubt she even remembers me, but she was lovely. She was nice. She was saying about her book. I was like, oh, cool. I'll check it out when it comes out. And I didn't, and then it's now being released and I'm seeing it everywhere and I want it. So I think I've also pre-ordered that. I'm kind of interested in Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I don't really know much about it. It's an R.F. Kuang book. The only R.F. Kuang book I won't read is Yellowface, because I just know that's just not going to be for me. It's not the type of book I read. I think that's my most anticipated thus far. That's probably going to be a couple that I'm just going to come across later in the year, and I'm just going to lose my mind over them, most likely. But drop down below, what books are you most anticipated for that are coming out this year? If you think I've missed a couple, put them down below, let me know.